Okay, let's do us a review on the Doctor Who flight control TARDIS. Now, I've heard a lot of reviews on YouTube, and a lot of people spend a lot of time talking about the packaging. Well, we're not going to talk about the packaging. I think that's been talked about enough. What I want to talk about is the differences between these two TARDISes. Most people say that it's the same TARDIS, just the windows are different and the light on the top is different. Well, it's quite a bit more than different than that. Of course, you know, they noticed the sign and it's a little bit darker, but there are a lot of details about this new TARDIS that tell you that it is not the same TARDIS. Now, the first thing that I noticed when looking at it, of course, is the color in the windows, but the windows also have a much wider frame. The windows on this 11th TARDIS are really, really wide and thick. By comparison, these are really thin. Another thing I noticed too is this sign on the door. Now, this is for the police telephone. Now, there are a couple of things about this I noticed. Number one, the door itself doesn't have any hinges on it. And if you look at the sign itself, the sign has several different sizes of fonts. The advice and assistance obtainable immediately is a little larger than the font below it, which is officer and car respond to all calls. Now, once you get over here to the 11th, like I pointed out, the windows are much thicker. The door for the telephone is different. There are hinges, and the advice and assistance font and the officer's font at the below that are the same size. Also, officers instead of officer. Of course, the sign is newer, is different, whereas the first one had a more worn look to it. Now, the other thing too is when you look at the doors, the door handle has always supposed to have been sitting higher on the police call box door than on the actual TARDIS door. And that's how it is in the 10th TARDIS. You notice in this one it's a little different. They actually are even at the bottom. The other thing too is this door lock. It sits right at the center here. When you get over here, the door lock sits up. It doesn't sit so close to the center. Then the other thing also is the wood grain. Now, in this TARDIS, the wood grain is really, really detailed, really fine detail. Once you get over here, the wood grain is, well, it's really more toy-like. It's not, it doesn't really look woodsy, you know. It looks like, you know, imitation toy stuff. Outside of that, basically they're the same size. Of course, there's the color difference. St. John the Ambulance sign on the door. And of course, most people already know about the lighting effects and the sound effects. Of course, the lamp on top, we mentioned that is different. And the thing about these windows too, if you'll notice that there's a shadow there, which means that there are actually two panes of glass on the doors of this TARDIS. Unlike this one where there's no light coming through and it looks like it's just one solid piece of glass there, or should I say plastic. But anyway, that's the difference that I noticed between these two TARDIS, the 11th TARDIS and the 10th Doctor TARDIS. Most people believe they are the same. I believe that they are two different machines. If you're a collector, you're going to want to get both of them. The 11th TARDIS is special more so because of its black windows than anything else, I would believe. And of course, the 10th TARDIS is the only one that has lit windows and a lit interior. Well, that's my review on Doctor Who Flight Control TARDIS.